Actually, going to tell you what I love about writing using an illustration from my television days.
Okay.
On the Smothers Brothers show, we had Tony Randall as a guest star, and I wrote. Remember, we were doing the airplane routine that Newhart did. I wrote a sketch for the Smothers Brothers show that was in fact a big production sketch that was based on like Wings, World War I flying movie.
Okay.
And I typed on the page at CBS Television City in the writer's room, up on World War I flying barracks, Tony Randall, we hear a plane crash off stage. Tony Randall enters and addresses the assembled airmen about their mission. And jokes to come. I submit it. It goes in. He says, "Yeah, that's going in the show. We'll do a dance number, whatever." And I forget about it and go back to writing the monologue with Lorenzo and doing whatever else we're doing for television variety comedy. And somebody says, "Hey, they're rehearsing the World War I flying sketches in the show next week, so they're rehearsing if you want to go down, they're on the set now." So I go down to the stage at CBS, and they had a curtain in front of it, and I'm sitting in the bleachers, and I go, "Okay, World War, flying sketch." The curtain opens up, and there on the stage is a World War I flying barracks, as only Hollywood can do it. There's a pot-bellied stove with steam and hot coffee. There's shafts of light in the window. There's 8 or 10 airmen in World War I vintage flying outfits with puttees and leather jackets. And there's a poster on the wall of Wanted von Richthofen. And it's a complete world that was 6 words, up on World War I flying barracks.
Right.
And Hollywood built it. So all you have to do is write it, and they make it.
Yeah.
And the idea of, and this is something that novelists and people who write literature and don't write for the theater or for movies or television, this is something they never experience, is that moment when what you write becomes the beneficiary of all the collaborative arts that make our business: acting, singing, dancing, set design, music, all of that comes.
You can see a dream come true.
You can literally, if you can write it, they can build it, and they do, and that was a television sketch. So you can imagine when you write a movie, when Hollywood builds a movie.
Right.
And I'm going to touch on another one of my credits. I was in the movie MASH, and for MASH, Altman wanted a complete set that he could shoot any part of, so they built the MASH compound that was later used for the TV series. That was built in the Fox Ranch in Malibu. And to get there, we'd meet at Fox Lot. They'd drive us out to the Fox Ranch. We'd drive through Valley of the we would drive through Planet of the Apes set. We'd drive past the Sand Pebbles set. We'd go over some ground and reach some mountains that look like Korea. There's a burnt-out truck. There's a tank. There's a bunch of tents on the horizon. We get closer. There are all these tents. And Altman didn't want us. He didn't have any trailers or dressing rooms. He encouraged us to hang out in our barracks, in our bivouac. So you go into the tent. This is your bunk, Carl. This is where Captain Black sleeps. And there's a bunk with 1950 Collier's magazines and an ammunition crate with writing implements from Woolworths. There's this whole world that was built for the movie. And like I say, with vintage magazines, just set dressing. Somebody went out and got everything. They even had to, they got cases of beer that didn't have pull tops because there were none in that period.
Right.
So they went to Einhauser. The prop man, actually, he got them to print labels upside down. So I think they were pull-top cans, but they were upside down, so you'd have to open them with an opener. No, I take it back. They were real beer cans without pull-tops. They were built for the show.
Wow.
So and it was extraordinary. So that's something that writing for production does. And I've never done Broadway, but I've been on Broadway sets, and you can see that where a set builder has put fingerprints on the light switch, so no matter how closely you look, it doesn't look like a set. I mean, it's canvas and plywood, but
Right.
wow, it's all part of the illusion. So when you write something, the physical production of it, can become real. Then take the props and set dressing out of it. Then the nice thing about writing drama or comedy is that when actors are introduced into the equation, here comes a whole set of other artists bringing their art. And when an actor reads a line of dialogue that you've written, and the actor reads it verbatim, they will still find an inflection that you never heard in your head all the time that you were writing it, rewriting it, and polishing it, and putting it in the script. You thought of all the ways the line would sound when an actor read it, because you kind of have to be aware of those rhythms.
Yeah.
And here comes an actor who reads it in a way you never heard it before, and it's correct. You go, oh, of course he would say it that way. And then another actor replies, and because that actor is practicing his or her craft, it sounds like they just heard the line and they're responding to it. Wow, that's a level of illusion that the world is never a party to. I mean, somebody said in Bad and Beautiful, the guy says, nobody thinks they write movies. They think the actors just make it up as they go along. Well, the truth is that we do write movies, and the actors don't make it up. They say it as written, and they make it appear as if they just thought it up on the spot. And the important lesson I learned as a writer, when we were auditioning actresses for Which Way Is Up for the female lead to play opposite Richard, we screen tested, I think, 5 women for the part. And when they were doing their screen tests, they all bobbled a line of dialogue, and curiously enough, they all bobbled the same line, which didn't appear any different from any other line of dialogue that they were asked to do. It was appropriate to the character. It was correct exposition. It was a setup for a joke. But when 5 actresses all have trouble with this at the same spot on the page, you got to say to yourself, there's something on that spot that's not right.
Mm-hmm.
That dialogue has to be fixed. It doesn't fit in the actor's mouth.
Right.
And that's something you have to be very cognizant of when you're writing for actors. The words have to fit in their mouths. Now, actors are miraculously adept at making stuff fit, but every now and then it just doesn't. And if you're a writer or a director, you got to stop for a minute and say, okay, it's not the actor's fault.
Mm-hmm.
It's the writing. Maybe it's the staging, but more likely it's the writing. So I became aware at that point that everything I wrote had to fit in an actor's mouth sooner or later. And there are times when you have to say to a director, if they're complaining about the length of a speech or that they don't get the joke, you say, wait, let the actor do the line first. And if you still don't like it, okay, then we'll change it. That's assuming I'm still around to be asked. But I've been lucky enough to be on the set of most of the movies I've ever worked on. So I've gotten a golden opportunity to see everybody practice their craft at the highest professional Hollywood level, whatever that is.